Hello, hello. Another question. Are dog training apps worth it? I think I know what this is asking. I've seen plenty of them like popping up on my Facebook and Instagram and stuff as ads. And I'm so talking about them, but also just courses, online courses in general. I'm going to kind of put them together. Um, they're pretty much the same thing, whether it be a step by step app or these online courses. So, if that is the route you want to go, one, whether it be financial, because you can't afford like to hire a professional to actually do it with you, or just the convenience of it, because the online stuff is very convenient. It Everything has its give and take. So if you're going to work directly with a trainer, like if you're going to work with me, you're going to pay some money, like a good chunk. So like my most expensive package is almost $8,000. So it's you got to pay for what you want, okay? But at the same time, if there's no trainer involved and it's just this guide on your phone, and you can stick to that guide, then by all means do it. Those typically might cost a couple $100, a few $100, depending on the trainer. But that's mainly what you need to look at, because there's plenty of like these templates that you can buy off Etsy, and people can buy that, turn that into an app, and it's like, oh, it'd be somebody that doesn't know anything about dog training. So the really cheap stuff maybe, because there's even like Patreon, there's plenty of these big name really good trainers that you could pay for $10 a month for their Patreons and learn a ton of information. So even some of the bigwigs got the bigwigs, like the well-known trainers, or I wouldn't even say well-known because there's not a lot of famous dog trainers, but these what I call big name trainers are the ones that little old me, even though I've been doing this for a while, but um, they like essentially they're dog trainer mentors, but also running a dog training business. Anyways, I'm going to call those guys the big wigs. But what I want you to do is make sure you do your research. So you have to understand who developed the program, what do they specialize in? Like there's trainers out there that specialize in protection dogs, police dogs, military dogs. You don't, yeah, they can do some high level, really cool stuff, but you don't need that. I don't know. That's not who I would go for if I have a 10-pound chihuahua that's biting people. You have to make sure that they kind of match up, like what their expertise is versus what you need. If you just need basic obedience, like, hey, I just want my dog to sit when it sits, like they don't pee in the house, they don't chew anything up, they're not barking and lunging, they're not pulling, like they're a great dog. When I say come, I want the dog to come to me. Okay, and then you just find a person that does basic obedience. You don't need anything fancy for those guys. So what do they specialize in? How much hands-on experience do they have? Did they just go to graduate dog training school last week and now all of a sudden they have a online course slash app? I mean, that's fine. There's plenty of these schools out there that give you tons of hands-on experience. Just in my opinion, it's completely different versus the guy that's been training dogs for 10, 15, 20 years, didn't go to school, they just got hands-on experience. That was more quote unquote my route. So really the experience is what's going to matter most, because these schools do great from what I've heard. I don't know, I didn't go to an actual school, but like they give them hands-on, they give them the book, they give them all the knowledge. Like these people coming out of these dog training schools know a lot. What are their methods of training? Maybe you're somebody that doesn't like the fact or doesn't like e-collars. Okay, don't go to a trainer that uses e-collars and expect them to change a program for you. Find somebody. Mike Ritlin, he's a dog trainer. He kind of, I would say he specializes in, well, he was a Navy SEAL, so he has government contracts and he I would say, specializes in these military dogs that are going to get euthanized. I think he does this as like a charity thing. I don't know. Don't hold me to that, but he takes in these military dogs that were going to get euthanized, and he uses 99% positive reinforcement to get them from being these crazy military working dogs to being fairly good, calm working dogs. So I wouldn't say that Susan down the street with 5 kids under the age of 10 should be getting one of these rehabbed military working dogs, but for somebody that's maybe an avid hiker or runs a lot or is like going out and doing things almost every night, like, okay, maybe you get one of these rehabbed military dogs. But yeah, just figuring out who they are, what kind of experience they have, and then finding your price point. It's a completely unregulated industry, so like I kind of said, you could buy the program off Etsy, all written out and everything, but like who created it? So any Joe Schmo can call themselves a dog trainer. So they can get on YouTube, they can take their personal Labrador Retriever, train them for a month, and they can be like, oh, well, I'm a dog trainer. I trained my dog. I can train your dog. And hey, you got to start somewhere. But for that person that trained their personal dog for 2 months, shouldn't be charging you thousands and thousands of dollars. Okay, everybody has to start somewhere. Just like use your common sense. But there's definitely reputable trainers out there that are online. They do virtual sessions or they have their courses. So Mike Ritlin, I'm actually enrolled in his online program. I've done Will Atherton. He's over in the UK, but he's got a whole big program. There is Sean O'Shea. I don't know if, yeah, he has online courses that you could buy. What's the other guy? Solid Canine. I always forget. Jeff Gelman. He's got online stuff that you could buy. Those guys really good. I would buy their stuff, or I have bought their stuff. Just don't, when it comes to purchasing these online courses and stuff or going through them, don't believe what's on that website. Okay, honestly, don't just take what they say about themselves. Do your research. Figure out who the trainer is. Figure out what they've done in the past. Figure out like what dogs they've transformed and yada yada yada. Use your common sense. Don't just take it because it's a $20 course and it'll take your dog from knowing nothing to be an expert skydiving pooch. Like, please don't believe that. If they're only selling that for $20, then they probably don't know what they're talking about, or they're just marketing to the masses with they bought off Etsy program. So consume their content, make sure it's a good fit for you, and yeah, use your judgment. Don't just buy the first thing you see.